According to sportsbettingdimes.com, and I'll link an article from Detroit News in the description so you can check it out. The Lions are projected to win 6.5 games. Obviously, it's super premature, but that's like tied for like one of the lowest win totals going into the 2020 season. Let's talk about it. We back. Motor City Sports Talk. We in the building. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Share the video. We also talk about is that win total good enough for Patricia and Quinn to return in for the 2021 season. But 6.5 wins, same as Arizona. One more full win than the Miami Dolphins. And it's premature because free agency doesn't open until March, and then you got the draft in April. They put the draft back late April. I forget where it is this year. I think it's in Vegas. So if you want to go to Vegas and enjoy the draft, and they got magic shows and all the other stuff, it's probably a good year to go. And then the Raiders open up this year at the Death Star. That's what I call their stadium. It's all black. So something to think about. But 6.5 wins is premature. It's the lowest win total in the NFC North. The Bears are projected 8. And I think the Packers and Vikings are projected at 9.5. But remember, you have players that abruptly retire. You have players that get cut. You have players that get injured. It's a long way away to be projecting any win totals. Free agency haven't started. The draft haven't started. And both of those are almost close to, unpredictable when you're talking about production. I mean, you may, think you signed a top free agent. He ended up like Jerry Berg going from Buffalo to New Orleans and absolutely does nothing. That's the thing about free agent. People think that if you plug a player in that he was good in Houston, you plug him in Detroit, he's gonna be equally as good. Sometimes dudes get that first big contract or get that big money, and they not the same player no more, or they get comfortable. Then you got situations where guys don't fit the system, and they was only comfortable in one type of system, and you get to another system and it don't work. Same thing with the draft. It's an enigma. You might get a 7th round pick that may be the best player in the draft. You might get an undrafted rookie like Phillip Lindsay that may be, one of the better rookies. So you really don't know. You might get a 1st round draft pick that might be a Hall of Famer. You might get one that might be a Hall of Shamer. You might get your Jamarcus Russell. He might get injured in training camp. So it's a lot that can happen between now and then. They can change the win totals. But 6.5, that would at least double what they done this year. Most people say, well, they only won 3 games because Matthew Stafford got injured, but they had a losing record with Stafford. I think if Stafford continued to play, they probably would have made a late push for the playoffs, in my opinion, because they was in a lot of those games with Chris Driscoll and with David Block. But if was a 5th, we'll all be drunk right now, all right? And that's not the case. So the Lions are what the Lions are. People think this is not a rebuild. It is a rebuild with or without Matthew Stafford. It's a rebuild. Bare minimum, if you want to be nice, it's a retool. They need an all-new offensive line. They need a D-line. They need linebackers. They need more explosive playmakers on offense. So they need the whole 9. So is 6.5 respectable? I think it's respectable for a team that won 3 games with a quarterback that's going to his 12th year in consecutive seasons had back injuries. I think it's respectable to double it up. But, it's just, we're going to continue to get disrespected until we change the narrative about the team. And that starts on the top on down. It's a little bit different than building a building or a house where you build the foundation. It's have to be strong. It's reversed in the NFL. Or it's reversed in most major team sports. It starts from the top onto the bottom. And our leadership our ownership isn't strong. They have no clue, Martha and Rod Woods, how to build the football team. They have no clue what to look for. That's like sending somebody to appraise a diamond and they don't know what to look for. The NFL put Bob Quinn and Patricia in this position. They did a hiring search for Martha because she didn't know what she was doing. As much as Martha wants to deliver a winner in Detroit, she don't know how. And it's in the best case scenario to sell the team, for the city. But once again, with most billionaires, they shrewd, they very callous, they very heartless. They do what's best for their pockets. And if you don't like what Martha Ford is cooking in the kitchen, stop coming to eat in her restaurant. Stop coming to watch the Lions You think Martha give a damn as long as she can sell hope in the off season and she can go in there and sell out every game and not have a game blacked out? If Martha was dealing with what they was dealing with in Jacksonville, it'd be a totally different thing where they might put 2 games in London and with the Jaguars next season because they can't sell. But the thing about the attendance in the NFL too is that the TV money is so good that you really don't have to have great attendance. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. You don't have to have great attendance, but you got to remember, Martha don't get a lot of that parking money neither. So if people stop coming to Ford Field, then she may be forced to sell. But that's a shame that the Pistons and the Tigers don't get that unconditional support that the Lions get. You know what I'm saying? Because if the Pistons ain't no good, ain't nobody going down, when nobody going to the Palace, or when nobody going to Little Caesars, the Tigers games be empty. Detroit is better when the sports teams, everything seems to be better. The unemployment rate seems to be down. People seem to be happy when the Pistons and the Tigers and the Wings are doing well. See, we never lived in a time, in a long time, where the Lions did well. But when they did do well in some parts of the 90s, the city was in a pretty good position. And these owners, the Illiges, the Gores, if they can't get the job done, just sell, get the money. Martha Ford ain't going to benefit from that generational money she get from selling the Lions. She's the richest woman in Akron, over LeBron right now. She's not going to benefit. You know what I'm saying? What else more can she buy? You know, she can't buy no man. I mean, she don't need a use for a man. She got a car. She don't need to drive. She got everything, the best healthcare and everything. What else can she buy? But she going to keep milking us. But 6.5 wins, you know, that sound about right. You know what I'm saying? That sound about right. Even with a healthy Matthew Stafford. As the team's constructive, but things have changed. Guys that get paid, guys that get cut, guys that get brought in, rookies that get drafted. People going to forget about last season. Optimism will be sold by the ounce, by the pound, by the key. That's what the NFL do. That's how they trap people to buy season tickets. Optimism. They take them to these luncheons. They give them this access to training camp, and they sell optimism. And every year we fall for it. Last year was the first year I fully didn't fall for the optimism trick. People say, "What you think the Lions record gonna be?" I said, "It's a wait and see approach." You know what? I was right. I was right not to predict each Lion game and we should beat them, we should lose to them. No, I ain't doing that no more. They got me over 20 plus years doing it. But having the lowest projected win total in NFC North, I can see it. Especially if Chicago pull off a situation where they can get a Taysom Hill or a Cam Newton, or they can bring in another quarterback or trade up and try to get a Burrows or get a Tua, get a Herbert. If they can bring in another quarterback, get a Tom Brady, I think Minnesota, I think they are what they are with Kirk Cousins. I wouldn't be too concerned about him. I think they just gonna be what they are. You know, Green Bay, they got to add a lot of more playmakers around Aaron Rodgers. He not getting healthy, so he could fall off at any moment. The team I'm worried about is Chicago. If they get a functional quarterback there, that's the team to worry about. The Chicago Bears. They got everything in place but a quarterback, and that just lets you know how impactful and how powerful a quarterback is. Because if you put Patrick Mahomes in Chicago, that's the difference between Chicago not making the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl. You put a Deshaun Watson on Chicago Bears. It's the difference between not making the playoffs and winning the Super Bowl probably. And that's my honest opinion. But Chicago, with a good quarterback, is the most scariest team in the NFC North to me. Because I don't fear Kirk Cousins, and they don't have enough playmakers with an aging Rodgers right now, which can change around him. So, you know, the defense is pretty bad as far as stopping the run. So, you know, it's a division that the Lions could conquer, but I just don't see them having I don't see them having the front office people to do so. But now, leading to the secondary question of the video, which is probably what people want to hear. In 6-5, well, 6.5 or 6-7 wins, good enough for Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn to keep their job, and I think it would be. I don't think Martha wants to. I don't think she wants to do another coaching search. I don't think she want to fire them and still pay them and then pay somebody else. Remember, once again, go back a little bit in the video. I told you that the NFL helped her with the hiring search for Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia. This is the same NFL that jerk us around, same NFL that seem to not want to help us win anything. So why would they help us find the right guys for the job? They matched up with Bob Quinn, a guy that never ran the New England Patriots organization, a guy that we all know was in the shadows of Bill Belichick. Same for Matt Patricia, shadows of Bill Belichick. People around the league believe, oh, Patricia can work, let Bob Quinn and Patricia do it. Well, we don't really have a choice but to let them stay and do it until their contract is out, because Martha has no resources to know who to pick and who not to pick. You know, it's at the point where maybe she should bring in Calvin and Barry to help her run the organization, kind of like Stefanowski is an advisor to Tom Gore. She need a football advisor up top to help her point in the right direction, to help her understand what she needs to do. She need to, like a Barry, a Herman Moore, a real football guy. You know, maybe hire Bill Parcells or Bill Cowher. Maybe even bring in a Jim Caldwell, Tony Dungy as an advisor, not as a general manager, not as assistant GM. After Bob Quinn and Patricia contracts run, if Martha's still around, I think she needs to hire a football guy that's like Ed Stefanowski that can help put the pieces in play. You know what I'm saying? You got to drop a bag. But at least if you do get a guy that hasn't done it before, he can have an OG, you know, that can help him feel his way through it. She needs to hire somebody to run the organization that's done it before if she really wants to put a winner. Don't trust the NFL. You know, you go out there, you pay Bill Parcells, you pay, you know, you can pay anybody. Bill, Tony Dungy, Bill Cowher, Parcells I was talking about. I mean, you can get Barry, Calvin, Herman. That's another way you can get Calvin his money. You know what I'm saying? You get somebody that's a football guy. They necessarily ain't got to know the inner workings of a general manager, but get you somebody that can help you, point you to the right direction, and get you a philosophy. Get you a football guy. But I don't really think they leave next year unless they win 3 games or less next year. I think she stands by them because she has no way to replace them. Once again, she's gonna run back to the NFL for a job search. I think that's the difference. She has no way to replace them. She don't want to pay them not to work. So I think they got whatever they contract say they got. What is it? 3 more years left, 2 more years left. I think the contracts end at the same time for the most part. I do think they will be here. They're going to have every opportunity to get it done. And I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad if they continue to stay because they fired them and they put somebody else in the position to do the job and they can't do the job because they're not the right pick. So I'll ride out with them. And hopefully, you know, the rumors are true. If Martha do, you know, croak or do what she going to do, that her family sells the team to somebody that actually wants to put a winner out there. Maybe Jeff Bezos, maybe Dan Gilbert, maybe Mark Cuban. You know, I would prefer it to be a minority, a black man. They bought the Detroit Lions, but we all know the NFL, they ain't with that black power-ish. But my first preference is somebody that's willing to put a winner on a team, that's willing to, you know, hire a football guy that know what he's doing and put a winner there, man. So I do think that 6 or 7 wins say today. I don't think that Martha's threat of they got to make the playoffs. I don't think she's going to be that cutthroat in doing it. And pretty much this is probably going to be Bob Quinn's second chance at rebuilding the Lions since he's been here. He's rebuilt the offensive line. He's had multiple draft class. I mean, the whole linebacker core is his. The whole defensive line he brought in. For the most part, it's not too many Martin Mayhew players left on the roster other than Matthew Stafford, Darius Slay, and there might be a few other ones there. This team has got his full imprint, so he getting a second opportunity whenever his contract up is just 2 or 3 years to build the team. So we'll see what he learned since being here, but I don't really have respect for his football IQ. I don't have respect for Matt Patricia's system, how he run the Lions, the Patriot way he implemented. He need to implement the Matt Patricia way. But it is what it is. You know, we'll see what they do in free agency. The rule of thumb or common sense would be they jobs on the line. They got a lot of cap space. They're gonna spend a ton of money on players and try to save their job. I don't think so. I think they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to target guys that fit their system, guys that been New England Patriots. Once again, they brought in another coach from New England to be the cornerback or the DB the DB or the linebacker coach. I forget what the guy was. I think it was the DB coach. So they're going to keep doing what they're doing. They're going to keep bringing in New England guys. They're going to keep bringing in guys that feel like they fit their system, guys that we think can help, not going to help. And they're going to try to build it the way they're going to build it. It's a miserable workplace. I believe Hakeem Vallis, I believe a lot of what Richard Sherman said. It's a toxic culture that they're creating. And that was toxic before they got here, but I just think they made it even more toxic with this Patriot way shit. And they trying to do everything they did in New England and not even make tweaks. They're not even making tweaks to the system. So I think they're going to be here for the long haul. And I think that's the thing to do. Let them get every shot they have to get this thing together, because Martha can't find a respectable replacement anyway. So hopefully by the time they contract's up, we have new ownership. I'll just keep it that way. And we can continue to move on. Hopefully the Detroit Lions can, find an owner that knows what they're doing. But I fully expect them to be here in 2021, unless they go 0-16, 1-15, 2-14. I think, 4 or 5 wins. And I think it's another cop-out as Matthew Stafford get injured in the third year. It's this narrative that Matthew Stafford really wasn't injured the last 2 years, and that he's going to be okay in his 12th year. Fans truly believe that. And if they don't draft a replacement for Stafford this year, and they don't have any plans to get assets to get Trevor Lawrence next year, I think that's going to set the franchise back a bit as well too. But it is what it is. I think Stafford will be another cop-out if he get injured again this year. It's going to buy them time. But I expect them to be here 2021 and until their contracts run out. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Motor City Sports Talk. Don't forget to check out our Detroit Lions playlist, our live stream playlist as well too. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Keep sharing the videos. Want to make a donation to the channel? That link's in the description. Cash App, PayPal. Best way to donate is share the video. And other than that, man, just keep checking out our playlist. We just did a Lions playlist. Live stream the other day, so check the live